Hello, this is notes for day 5 for unit 10 for polygons and area. So yesterday, the day 4 notes, we learned about parallelograms and rhombuses, and we talked about base times height and diagonal times diagonal. So today in these notes, there's a couple things going on. So depending on how we're doing this, if the substitute is able to get the video running and everything's working smoothly, we should be able to do these problems here first. So what's going to happen is I'm going to tell you to pause the video. Obviously, at that point, you pause the video. Give yourself some time, maybe about a minute, to do the problems I'm asking you to do, and then we'll move on. So, for example, what I'd like you to do is these problems 1 through 4 here. I would like you to try and do these 4 problems, and I'd give yourself about, let's say, 1 to 2 minutes to do this. All right, so go ahead and pause the video, and give this a shot, and then I'll show you the answers. Okay, time's up. So looking at these 4 problems, you've got a parallelogram at the top. So the formula for parallelogram is area equals base times height. And so I got 54. For example 2 is a rhombus. We talked about diagonals yesterday. The diagonal times the other diagonal, the total diagonal length divided by 2 will give you the area of 35. A couple days ago, I think it was last week even, no, it was Monday. We multiplied a triangle to get area equals base times height divided by 2, and you'll get 35 for number 3. And then number 4 is a composite, meaning it's a triangle and a rectangle together. So you have to do 2 separate areas, and they add up to 36. So scroll on down, and let's talk about trapezoids. So trapezoids have 2 main parts. There is the bases, and there is the height. The height is the one that's perpendicular. So we're going to need to know those things. So B stands for base, and H stands for height. And we talked about this yesterday in the notes. So the base for number 6, there's 2 of them. There's 8, and there's another base that's 12, and the height for this problem would be 5. We need to know those numbers in order to do the area formula for a trapezoid. So the formula for area of a trapezoid is this one right here in this little dotted box. I don't necessarily write it like this. You might have seen it as area equals 1/2 times B1 plus B2 times height. You might have seen it as area equals B1 plus B2 divided by 2 times height. That is typically the one I do. I like to figure out the average base and then multiply it times the height. Now notice I said average base. So yesterday we did parallelograms being area equals base times height. So what I'm asking you to do is think about that base as being the average base. And so because it's the average, we're able to sort of like relate this to other stuff we've done in the past. So let's give it a shot. For this example 7, we're going to find the area of this trapezoid. So it's going to be base times height, but it's the average base. So we're going to add 6 plus 8, and we're going to divide by that by 2, and multiply that answer times 5. So the average base times the height. So 6 plus 8 is 14 divided by 2. That is 7 times 5. So the area for this is 35 square inches. So what I'd like you to do is try to do number 8. So go ahead and pause the video. Try to solve number 8. Give yourself about a minute to do it. And I'll regroup and show you the answer in a second. Okay, so the answer is 63 square feet. I take 7 plus 11, the 2 bases, and I'm going to add those up and divide by 2, just like I'm doing right here in the problem, and then I'm going to multiply it times the height. Let's go ahead and skip number 9. Let's look at number 10. So before we do this problem, we could use the formula. And one last time, that formula is area equals the base plus the other base divided by 2 times the height. Or what we could do is we could use chunking like we've done in the past. So you've got this triangle and you've got this rectangle. we could actually find those separate areas like you've done in the past. You just got to know how to find all the numbers. So what we need to think about is this is 10 from, sorry, this is 8 from here to here. So how big do you think the rest of that triangle is? That's right, it's 4 centimeters. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for participating. So you can use that 4 and the 5 to find the area of the triangle. So for the blue rectangle, the area is 12 times 5. I'm sorry, that's not right. 8 times 5. That's the rectangle, so that's 40. So that's the rectangle. And the triangle is 5 times 4 divided by 2. So that's 20 divided by 2, or 10. So the total area should be 40 plus 10, or 50 square centimeters. Now, let me show you what the answer would be if we use the formula. If I plug in the bases and divide by 2 and multiply times the height, you'll end up getting exactly the same answer. So what I'm trying to show you is you can use things you know in the past. The area of a trapezoid formula is a shortcut. Every now and then we'll give you some numbers and maybe it'll be difficult for you to figure out maybe what it is, but in this case there was a right angle in the bottom of that rectangle. It allowed you to do that, and you could find a quick answer using chunking if possible. So for example 11, I'm going to give you the choice. You can either cut this into pieces, and I would suggest cutting it so this is a triangle, you got a square of some kind, maybe a rectangle, and you got another triangle. Either do that, or just use the area of a trapezoid formula. It's entirely your choice. I will have both answers in about 30 seconds or so. Go ahead and give it a shot, and unpause it when you think everybody's ready. For chunking, you might find that there's a problem. The problem is that this is 6, this whole distance here is 20, but it's hard to tell how big these two pieces are. So to find the base for those triangles, it's going to be pretty difficult. In fact, it's going to be almost impossible. There's some tricks way around it, but those are more complicated than they're worth. So in this case, chunking does not work like that previous problem I showed you. There really is no way. This is sort of a trick question. You can't chunk number 11. You can only use the formula to find the area of a trapezoid in this case. Now you might be saying to yourself so far, well, this lesson is a complete review. We did this in middle school. I remember all of this. I might not have remembered perfectly, but this is not really worth my time. So let's make it a little bit more difficult. So the formula is area equals B1 plus B2 divided by 2 times the height. Well, let's plug in what we know. We know that the area is 96. We know that one of the bases is 9. We know the other base we don't know. And we know the height is 8. We need to solve this crazy algebra problem. So here's my suggestions. You should get rid of the 8 first and see what happens. I bet you the problem will look a little bit easier. So if we divide by 8, you should get 12 equals 9 plus B2 divided by 2. So what do we do next? That's right, you should multiply by 2 next. You'll get 24 equals 9 plus B2. And then you're going to subtract 9, and you're going to get your answer of 15. And that is the other base that you needed. What I would like you to try to do is I'm going to leave this up on the screen so when we pause it you can see what I did for example 12. Try to do 13 on your own. The height is missing. I would like to know what the height is. So see if you can solve 13. Go ahead and pause. Okay, if you did it correctly, the height is 7 feet. So you plug in what you know, and then make sure you solve that part first before you divide by 11, and you should be able to get the right answer. Go ahead and skip 14. Let's try one more of those problems where one of the bases is missing. So go ahead and pause it. See if you can find the right answer. I would start with the formula area equals B1 plus B2 divided by 2 times the height, and then plug in what you know. Go ahead and pause the video. So we did this a couple problems ago. After you plug in the numbers, there was something you should have done first. It wasn't with the 2, and it wasn't with the 13. You were supposed to divide both sides by 8 first. And if you do that, you'll get 10.5 equals B1 plus 13 over 2. Now you might be panicking because it's a decimal. Oh my gosh, decimals, crazy. Don't worry, you did the right step. It's just there's going to be a decimal for a little bit of time. But what should we do next? That's right, we should multiply both sides by 2. So if you multiply both sides by 2, you'll get, look at this, 10.5 goes away, 21 equals B1 plus 13. And then we get, how do we get rid of the 13? That's right, you subtract 13 from both sides, and you get 8. And that is the missing base. And you can always plug it back in and see if you can get back to where you started at 84. But that's it, guys. I think we're done with the notes. Let me just double check. Yep, that's it. That's the end of page 3. So for the rest of the period, you're going to work on the worksheet that goes with these notes. It is also a little bit of a review, so you're going to have trapezoid areas as well as all the other area formulas we're talking about this chapter. Hopefully you're feeling really confident. Don't forget we have a quiz on Friday, so we will be reviewing tomorrow. Make sure you have that homework done as you walk in tomorrow, and we'll be able to go from there. All right, have a good rest of the day.